but it did not go live. I don't know what the problem was. There was a problem. So let me start. Sorry for the delay. Good evening, everyone. A very warm welcome to everybody. So this is Reader's Maze, a literary program brought to you by Chrysanthemum Chronicles, a contemporary publishing house. So Reader's Maze, this literary program aims to bring the readers and writers under one roof so that the books and journals that has been published by Chrysanthemum Chronicles can be discussed. So today, as a reader, this is Gauri Bhargav. I am immensely happy to be sharing my views about the book Demigods Are Alive by the author Monalisa Joshi. This book has been published by Chrysanthemum Chronicles, or CC as it is shortly called. So Monalisa Joshi is a poet, author, editor, publisher and director of Chrysanthemum Chronicles. So this book, Demigods Are Alive, is an amazing collection of 6 long and short stories. 6 stories of 6 different women. So these stories, predominantly having women protagonists, talk about women who are not necessarily perfect. So they appear to be flawed, yet they go through a myriad of emotions, and the thought process that goes inside their head has been brought forth beautifully. And let me tell you, the stories of such women are generally brushed aside under the carpet, but the author has gallantly expressed these raw emotions in the best possible manner. So these stories are stories of such women who can very much exist amidst us, but what makes them to come out of it? So that's what all these stories are about. Though they have been set across different time periods, yet there is something that adds a touch of modernity to it, which makes the reader resonate with all these women. And one other thing is, this is my perception. So as you can see, the cover page is in black and white. So I was just trying to wonder why the cover page was in black and white. Then it just made sense to me. So probably this is what the author wants to say. The society wants to look at the women as good or bad, black or white. But there are so many shades that adds to the character of every woman, so many emotions that she faces. So as you open the cover page and then go through these stories, we understand the various shades that adds to a woman's character. So a woman is not just black and white, good or bad. So we cannot arrive at an impulsive judgment just by looking at her in the superficial manner. So there was a deep connection with that cover page for me. So and now let me tell that these stories, though there is so much depth to it, the flow is smooth. So even a non-reader can pick up the book and enjoy these stories, because the plots, though they are uniquely different, it's not necessary for the reader to go back and forth. The story stays with you because the character descriptions, the narration, and the vivid description of the settings, it is so nice that we actually feel that all these stories are breathing with life. So we can actually imagine the whole setting in front of us, right in front of our eyes. Such is the depth of the story. And one other thing that I want to say is, when I read the stories, I felt as though the author did not write them in a few months or days. So she has taken quite a few days or years maybe to write these stories, because it has actually simmered in her mind. The way she has portrayed the emotions, it seems as though these protagonists actually sat with the author, peeped into her mind, and wanted to express what they felt inside their hearts as a story. And I was amazed to read in the acknowledgement that actually the author has said that. So let me read that interesting acknowledgement that I read. So the acknowledgement says, I would eavesdrop on their emotions at night when they sat silent inside the home of my heart and decided that I had many stories to tell and started writing them down. The process has been long as I've completed the stories, because I wanted to bring out real women protagonists with whom many would resonate. So I completely agree with what the author has said. We can completely resonate with all these stories. So that was pretty much what I wanted to say at the surface. Now let me go on and try to give a little gist about every story so that it irks some interest within everyone who wants to read the book. So the first story is Infidel Muse. So the Infidel Muse is about a woman protagonist named Mahua. Now Mahua is an ordinary woman who is into a mundane life. So she has a husband and a child, but she is at the crossroads when she falls in love with a stranger. In the beginning, the reader might think, why should Mahua leave everything and go find love in the arms of a stranger? But as the story unfolds, we get to know the different kind of emotions that goes into her mind. And at last, does she turn out to be infidel, or does she choose to stay with her husband? So I don't want to give you how the story ends, but the emotions have been portrayed beautifully. And it's not just Mahua's emotions have been portrayed. The other character, Ashish Roy, who comes in the story, the other gender has been given equal weightage, and the thought process of the other gender has been well portrayed as well. So that is the beauty of these stories. Equal weightage given to all characters in order to make the reader resonate with the story. So that was the first story. Now let me move on to the next story. The next story is... quickly let me go. The next story is Confines. Now this story was actually very close to my heart. This story is about the protagonist named Chitra. So Chitra, unfortunately, her sister dies, passes away. She is forced to take care of her nieces, and eventually she has to stay with her sister's husband, and it was a difficult life for her, but she always had a dream, something that she wanted to do, and then she finds love in the arms of a stranger. But the society might think that she has everything that she wants. Why should she leave everything that she has and find love in the arms of a stranger? But as you read, this is a very beautiful story, and it's not just Chitra's emotions that have been portrayed well. It's the other character, Ribu Das, whose emotions have been portrayed really poignantly. So let me read just a few lines that goes inside Ribu Das's head. So the page number is 58. Yeah, let me just read it. So this is what Ribu Das says. Seeing her crying like this, he understood that she wasn't happy inside, and expressing it ingenuously along with tears, he felt she needed a shoulder, a friend who would listen to her agonies. He was willing to help her, but there was a certain hesitation that was stopping him from going near. Was it fair for a woman who has a family, a man in her life, to be with another man alone whom she barely knows from a few hours back? Was it not her attempt to break those confines in which she belongs? So look at the thought process that goes inside the male character's head too, and then he decides. But after a few seconds of speculating and battling through countless thoughts, he made up his mind that he would not leave her in this condition and would help her no matter what was ahead. So isn't that beautiful way of telling how the two characters feel for each other? So it is a beautiful story. I don't want to tell more, so I would urge you to read the story Confines. And then the next story. So this story, yes, Calcutta Pudding. This was amazing. This was one of my most favorite stories, I can say. So this is set during the colonial era when the British ruled India. In the story, the protagonist Devi, she belongs to the Bengali Zamindar family. She actually finds love with a British. She finds love with Abigail. So he's a British officer, and she decides to elope with him and go to England. But after going there, she realizes that he did not love her the way she thought him to be. But despite everything, she finds solace in something, and that is a recipe that she knew from her homeland, and that is Calcutta. That is a pudding that she had learned to cook, and she named it Calcutta pudding because she was very homesick and she missed Calcutta very much. And I would like to read these lines for you to understand how she found solace in stirring that Calcutta pudding. So let me read it for you to understand it better. So here are these lines. Her inside, this is Devi, her inside remained hollow and full of melancholy, and the days he yelled at her, she would quietly go to the kitchenette and start making the pudding. She would stir, and stir incessantly. She found her peace in stirring the milk and staying in her kitchen for a longer time. It was the little world of escape she had created for herself. She tried somewhere to stir away all her sorrows and emotions, but the more she tried to empty her heart by stirring her gloominess, they became more pricking. Once she confessed to her young son, "Do you know what Calcutta pudding is? I am." So, do you see how nicely the author has portrayed the emotions? So, stirring the emotions and stirring the pudding, what a correlation, it's amazing. So, and also, though her husband did not love her, eventually he goes to realize the love that she had towards him. It's not that every character has been portrayed in a villainous manner, and her son, who is Abe in this story, he tries to go back to his homeland and try to find out the love story of his mother and father. It's a very poignant story. The emotions have been well portrayed. Calcutta pudding. And one other thing, interesting thing that I learned from the story is here Devi, who is a Bengali zamindar, she goes to Durham County, England, and adapts her lifestyle according to the place there. So the back page that you see, so this lady is symbolic to Devi. So Devi is the one who goes to England and adapts herself, the way she dresses, everything. So this is Devi. So if you've been wondering who is this in the back page, back cover page, so I would like to say that. So that was Calcutta pudding, and there was also one other thing that I wanted to talk about from the story. This being the favorite story, I wanted to talk more about the story. This is the letter Devi's son writes. So look at the emotions in this letter. "Dear Mr. Roy, forgive me for the other day, but I couldn't tolerate a word against my mother. I came here to know about her, her story, her life before she married my father. But it seems she has been long erased from all those hearts that she called and thought to be her own. I am not aware what is the reason for this hatred, but it broke my heart to see that after all these many years, she stays a taboo in your hearts and in the Roy household. Only my mother knows how much she had burnt day and night to visit her maternal home. But I'm glad she didn't, else it would have broken her tender heart even more." So in this we see her son's emotions that have been portrayed. So don't you see how well every character has been given weightage in this story? So Calcutta pudding was one of my favorite stories from the book. So the next story is Oops, It All Happened in My Nightgown. Now this story has a surrealistic backdrop to it because most of the story happens in a dreamscape where the unnamed protagonist meets a handsome man, an old woman, a snake. So the reader, this tale is quite intriguing, and in the end there is a sudden twist where you get to know what this is all about, and that the unnamed protagonist actually had an abusive husband, and who all these people were. So I don't want to tell you what happens in the story, but it's a kind of different story compared to the other stories in the book. So this story is Oops, It All Happened in My Nightgown. And the next story is Demigods Are Alive. So as you see, Demigods Are Alive, this is a story in the book and it's also the title of the book. This story, it explores the Pahari culture, a love story between Ulma and Ojas. So this is a very story about a very strong woman protagonist, Ulma, and how she breaks the shackles of patriarchy in order to be strong in whatever she believes. This is a very strong story, I would say, and this story is filled with jealousies, suspenses, palace intricacies. So there's a lot to learn from this story, the way the author has portrayed it in a different time zone. So that is Demigods Are Alive, and in the end, in this story, the protagonist Ulma, she writes a phrase, demigods are alive. So I don't want to say why and when, but this phrase has also been used as the title of this book. So that was Demigods Are Alive, that story. And the last one is Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. So yes, you must be wondering why the author gave the story the title Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Mirror plays a very pivotal role in this story actually, and this is a story about selfless love between Manjunath and Neelima. So they both moved to England, and then Manjunath actually suffers amnesia due to some incident. I'm not again telling you what that incident was. So they come back to their hometown Barakpur, and then what happens there and why the mirror and how her husband gets cured. But in the end, there is also a sudden plot twist which the reader will never expect. So that is the story, Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. So these are the 6 stories in the book. And one other thing that I wanted to say, which I forgot to say, the Demigods Are Alive, that story. So that is Ulma here along with the palace. So that is the story, this picture. So if you are wondering who this woman is, this is Ulma, and this is symbolic to Devi from Calcutta Pudding. So all these stories, though they are different, they have some thread of connection. It makes the reader resonate with every story. Such stories are really hard to find, I would say, and it gives us great insight about the society and how women are perceived in today's society, and how every woman should be gauged not with an impulsive judgment, but based on the various shades, various emotions that goes within her life. So there is some message, there is something to take away with every story of this. So I urge you, as a reader, I strongly recommend you all to buy this book. This book is available as a paperback in both Amazon and Flipkart. And guess what? Hurry up, order right away, because if you order now, you get an exclusive signed copy from the author. I'm sure you wouldn't want to miss that opportunity. Do order it right away and enjoy all these stories from this amazing book. Anybody, not just a reader, even a non-reader can pick up this book, and the stories will just flow effortlessly. You will not find it very difficult to follow it. Do order this book right away from Amazon or Flipkart, and don't miss the opportunity to get an exclusive signed copy from the author, Monalisa Joshi. So that was about it. I hope I made justice by sharing all my views. In fact, I can go on, but I'm sure I have said enough now. So thank you very much, Chrysanthemum Chronicles, for having given me the opportunity to talk about this amazing book. I feel proud to be a reader of this book, Demigods Are Alive. Thank you very much, and wishing Chrysanthemum Chronicles more success in the future. So let me end the live video. Thank you everyone who watched the who came for the show, for the live show, and also for those who will be watching this video later. Thank you very much. Bye bye.